Hey guys, what's up? Uh, we have Devil's Advocate number 11. Uh, this is pretty much a part two to our last podcast where we reacted to Fresh and Fitz, live live broadcast on Value Entertainment Money. So yeah, please check out the first one to get our views on the first half of the video. So we're just gonna get started because last video was like 2 hours, over 2 hours long.
We was in here discussing Byron's views.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. We were talking about how Fresh and Fitz, their views they're debating a panel of women. So let's try it out. Let's get started.
With that being said, you're talking about something known as traditional gender roles. Yeah. Right? That's something that you co-sign on. Yeah. Only until the last, 30, 40 years with modern feminism and fourth wave feminism has the traditional gender role sort of changed, right? We have a clip here. By the way, do we have any Andrew Tate fans in the house? Anyone? Anyone? Any Tate fans whatsoever? Have you ever done any content with Tate before, you guys?
I think maybe once or twice.
Once or twice?
He doesn't watch the show. He doesn't watch the show.
Or 12, I don't know.
Okay, just a couple times.
So
we're fans of Tate around here.
I want to know your views.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that. What's your thoughts on Andrew Tate, or how much do you know about him?
I can't say I know a lot or I follow him. So only when he got, I knew he was an MMA fighter.
He was a kickboxer.
A kickboxer, okay. But until he got notoriety online for not some of the things he said, because I didn't really know what it was he was saying. But then when things started to, I know some things happened to him, and it was public. So that's when he sort of came into my attention. So I can't say I know a lot about him. But when was this video? Was this around that time? Before that? After that?
No, this was after that.
Okay, so this is after
I think it was released already.
Ah, okay. Yeah. This is after like the Greta Grunberg thing, and
it's way after that. You already knew that he was released from prison, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was pretty much after that.
Okay.
Well, then my views is that he is. I mean, I liked him. I'm not saying that. Like, I always say that don't idolize anyone, at least not completely, right?
Yeah.
I'm a really thing where you don't be a sheep. You can take people's point of views, right? If they say something good, apply it to your life how you feel see fit. The problem is, how other people think is how other people think. Doesn't necessarily mean it's what you should think. I always say that people should, absorb the information that they receive and process it how it would fit into their lives. So, there's a lot of things I do agree with Andrew Tate, but there are also other things that I don't. So, so I don't like, he's not a god to me, which I always say which is a detriment to modern society, how we make celebrities, any form entertainer, as a god, which is crazy because it everyone is flawed. So I think it's not necessarily a good thing to make anyone who has the propensity to be flawed as your god. Right. So,
right. I mean, you can admire somebody who or agree with their opinions, but be careful how much stock you put into somebody, because inevitably they it just happens. Nobody's perfect. We disappoint each other.
Yeah. All right.
Traditional gender roles. Now, you got this clip with Tate. Volume up, please.
You're thinking of
with men and women is men and women have completely different roles in society. We have completely different attributes, completely different advantages. We go through life in completely different ways. You can't compare us as an equal. You wouldn't consider men and women equal in 99% of situations where men are expected to perform. You would not consider yourself an equal if you're rolling with your boy and a guy rolled up and you're trying to hurt you. You'd expect your man to fight, right? That's a man's job. You can't say we're equal when it suits you and we're not equal when it doesn't suit you. We are not the same. We are not the same. It's the reality of the world. We're not the same. And the reason women, even though they have unlimited options, are not running out here sleeping with a new dude every single day is because they won't sleep with a man they don't have at least some degree of feeling for. That's the difference. You will have some feelings for somebody you would sleep with. I promise you, a dude can sleep with a chick and she can get in a car crash and he won't give a fuck. I'm telling you, that's the game. That's the difference.
Let's before we continue. What do you thought? What are your initial thoughts on that clip?
He's not entirely wrong, unfortunately. I don't think that's a good thing, but he's not entirely wrong about that. As far as it's interesting, and I think we're going to talk about this more as the video goes on, right? But like, maybe I don't know if now is the time to get into it or not. But when they talk about equality, right? I always talk about yes, men and women are different, and people are different, right? So I don't feel like equality means you're the same. But I think it does mean you deserve equal consideration. That's all. You do you know what I mean, or do you see a difference?
What I was saying, right? I think it has been changed, right? They always say like these waves of feminism, right? I would say back in the day, maybe our grandparents or whatever, equality meant like that, where you just have equal rights. But nowadays we have such a far left ideology, right, where women just think that they're equal to men in pretty much every way. And that's the problem, where we're not distinguishing. No, you're equal in our rights, that's why I say that in right now, today's age, you name any kind of gender or any kind of group, black, women, trans, whatever, you literally have every single white that anyone else has. So, I mean, we probably talk about this in future podcasts, or I think we've touched about it in old podcasts, where even I've said minorities, right? It's only feelings or people's personal prejudice, racism, that are affecting groups, just like, or people, even like people's personal sexism are affecting women, because society as a whole, you have every right that everyone else has. So, I mean, there's really no systematic racism. Okay, tell me, what would you think?
I gotta disagree with you there, bro.
Okay, go ahead.
So, like, there's a lot of pushback against it, and there's been a lot of effort recently, especially, to minimize or eliminate that. But I mean, there's still places where gay marriage is illegal, where they're fighting abortion, they don't teach things like they don't teach things about transgender and multiple genders in schools. It's part of a system. I'm just saying that exists. I'm not talking about what's right or wrong. I'm just saying that that's still the case. When it comes to Black people, we're still over incarcerated and over policed. That's part of the system. You see what I'm saying? So it's like on paper, they'll say you have every right that everybody else has. But it doesn't matter if it's not enforced. And in a lot of cases, it's not enforced. And in some cases, it's outright fought against. So,
well, let's say this. I would say this, right? I think where we're probably seeing more is like, you're probably right in the sense that it's not enforced or it's done wrong. Because let's say this. I think gay marriages across all states is legal. It's just that certain people, right, would say no to it. I think that's the thing where, like I said before, it's not the system really, it's the individuals who they're against it. So let's say over police. Well, it's not necessarily the system, but it's the people who are, let's say, cops who are specifically going to predominantly black neighborhoods, and that's where they are staying. And so obviously they are incarcerating more black. So I think that's why I'm more saying like we have more personal racism, personal prejudice. Like it's what individual people are, doing themselves, and that we don't. I want to say that we can necessarily control in a sense. So I don't know. That's my personal thought about it. So, but I mean, maybe we're going on a tangent.
Well, no.
What?
I mean, I'd have to do some.
Well, I mean, we probably could,
before I
make it
state anything, but yeah, we can talk about it more later. But I still think that there are definitely some. There's been a greater effort to make things equal, to make sure people have equal rights, but I don't think we're there yet.
Okay. I'm gonna let you have the last word of that. we could definitely continue, and you know what? Look forward to it. We will continue about it because I don't just talk about women. I want to talk about people like our minority groups because, as you know, I've got plenty of comments saying that I'm not black, but I've said it before. I have dated black women. I have black friends. I've been in black communities practically all my life, and I've always wished well for the black community. So, what happens to people in general, especially men, right? What happens to men, it affects me as well. So, yeah.
Cold hard facts right there. So, two-part question. Tate, thoughts on what's happened with him these days?
He's 100% innocent. Everybody knows that, and very soon the whole world's gonna see it verified in the court system.
Yeah. Show of hands if you think Andrew Tate is innocent. Tristan Tate. Okay. Ladies. All right. Show of hands if you think that him and his brother are guilty.
Any shocker to anyone?
So we got one half a hand. Okay.
Feminist?
The jury rests, Romania. The jury rests. So this concept of traditional gender roles that Tate just pointed out. Give me your thoughts on what's happening in society these days. This is probably one of the main reasons you guys started the show. This is one of the things that I discuss on my show, where I got into a heated debate with, of all people, Chelsea Handler attacked me. I don't know if anyone saw that. Attacked me online from something that I said, where I said, I know a lot of women in their late 30s, early 40s now who were the hottest, baddest, dopest chicks in high school, in college. And now I see them out in the club and I'm like, baby, what are you still doing out in the club? Like, as a man, I can still be out here. Okay. And they're like, oh, I can't find a good man. And, I'm at, do you want to have kids? Or I'm sad. I can't find it. It's like, the game is completely different for men and women.
Yeah.
So, there she is. Chelsea hit the wall a long time ago. That's for sure. Thanks. Is that Zerka in the house?
Yeah, that's Zerka in the house.
Who is this fucking guy? Okay. I'm the star of this show. Yell. Keep going. Yell. All right. Shout out to you, Zerka. Thoughts on traditional gender roles? Thoughts on the role of a man and the role of a woman? How things have changed? And do you think we'll ever get back to the 1950s traditional gender role situation?
Yeah, so our grandparents and their forefathers definitely believed in traditional relationships, and for the most part it worked because the man would go to work, the woman would stay home with the kids and foster them. However, nowadays, women want to become men, and men are becoming women because most men are not leaders anymore. So what's happening is most guys nowadays are not going to work, they're not really becoming men of value, and women are stepping up, going to college, doing a lot more. So the roles have been reversed. Now you say going back to how it used to be, I don't, because women have fought so hard to become independent and feminism has taken over. So for the most part, I would say women are not going backwards, they're going to go forward. And as a result, men are becoming less manly. So it's sad, but it's reality.
Yeah, I mean, I think for a man, his duty is to provide and protect for his woman, and there's nothing wrong with treating the right girl well, and giving her a certain lifestyle if she's your woman. The thing is that you just have to be very selective on which girl gets these benefits. And once she stops doing what she's supposed to do, you need to be able to cut that off immediately. I think the biggest difference and a guy that has his shit together a guy that understands how the world really works is as soon as a woman doesn't behave anymore, she does no longer derive the benefit from him. When you're not able to put your foot down, that's what makes you a simp. That's what differentiates it. So I think men should provide and protect. And I think for a woman, if she wants to work, it should be elective, not mandatory. But for a man, it's mandatory that you work. But since you have the authority, you also need to have that responsibility as well for her. But now, do I think things are going to change? No. And the reason why is because women fought really hard to get to this position. We pretty much overcorrected. And let's be honest, if we were in the female's position, we wouldn't change either. They can basically double dip. And what I mean by this is they can do all the things that a man can do while simultaneously still being able to be treated like a lady and get the inherent benefits that chivalry provides them. So why would they go back? They're able to kind of get the best of both worlds from men. They can act like a man when they want to, but then they can also act like a lady, keyword, when they want to.
So where does that lead them, though? Does that lead them down the Chelsea Handler path? They're 48, they're worth multi-millions, they're on TV, but they sit at home, pop pills, drink alcohol, masturbate all day.
Well,
they got a whole dildo collection.
Well,
She said that.
They're never going to be happy just being a 50-year-old single cat lady. Don't you think?
What's happened? No, I agree. The thing is this: women no longer need men; they only want men. And when you want something, you're not going to fight as hard to keep it as if you need it, right? If you need to breathe, you need oxygen to live, you're going to do everything in your power, including pushing other people down to go ahead and get that oxygen. But when you only want it, well, I don't feel like it today, whatever. And I don't think guys understand that for your girl to totally submit to you, etc., she has to need you. But at the same time, you need to be in that position where you give her what she needs. Yeah. So that's typically how relationships have worked. That's how they've lasted. And that's what it is. But when women only want men, they're not going to do everything required to keep the man, which is why so many girls are able to get sex, but they're not able to retain a man because they only want him.
That is why you got to become the full package. So she wants to actually be with you long term.
Yeah, totally agree. I co-sign on the full package thing. What I say is, it's almost like a triangle. On one side, you have everything that's associated with wealth, your network, your business, your money, everything that comes with that. Then you have the looks side of things, right? How you look, your muscles, how you carry yourself, what you dress, how you smell, like everything associated with that. And the third one is your game, your personality, your brains, your humor, everything that's associated with that. And if you can do all that, if you're the top 10% of any of those three things, you can get a woman. If you're really, really good looking, but you're broke, you have no game, you can still do some damage, all right? You got a ton of money, right? But you got no game and you got no looks, you'll still do some damage, all right? You got a ton of game and you're broke as shit and your money ain't right, you can still do some damage. But if you're in the top 10% of two or even three of those things, the world's your oyster as a man. Yeah. Do you agree?
If you lack a critical component, you get paid for it later.
No doubt. Yeah. Like you see these like tech nerds or like crypto nerds show up in Miami that have millions of dollars in Bitcoin, and I mean
they're getting zero attention. They might get laid or whatever, but they're not getting genuine burning.
There was a
they're not getting respect.
Episode of them coming to the clubs, popping bottles, getting girls, but like at what cost? And then when they lost their money, they're gone.
Yeah.
So it's like
let me get the girls' opinion on this, and please.
Before we get the girls' opinions, what do you think so far? The question or the thoughts and stuff like that.
They said a lot, right? So
yeah,
I'll take what we ended on with first. Like, I don't disagree that if you have looks, money, and game, you that's the tic-tac-toe, right? But if you've got, can't really do much about your looks except have you can have good hygiene, you can dress well, right?
Yeah.
Your face.
Yeah, you can exercise.
Right. So you can do some things about that, but not a ton. Wealth, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work just to take care of yourself. I mean, that's fine. Game, that's interesting because everybody's got a different personality. So I wonder how they define game. Is it just being charming and knowing what to say at the right time?
I think that's what it means.
Is it just being able to hold a conversation or
Yeah,
comfortable.
someone who's like easily sociable, right? So you know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, you know, which
Okay.
is pretty much what always people always think about charm, right? I've known plenty of people, that just like spit out game like it's nothing. They could always say the right thing at the right time, or they don't care how something is said, right? It comes off easily, like words come out easily for them. That's the thing.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I guess they're not wrong about that. If you, but I still think there's hope for all of us. So we're okay. When they talk about, I didn't disagree with everything Myron said about gender roles. Not everything.
Yeah.
But I do want to point out, and I don't. What's the other brother's name who was sitting next to Myron? I don't know his.
Walter. But I mean,
okay.
I might as well just like one. Okay, Myron is always fit, and the other guy's fresh. So
okay.
it makes it easier. Yeah.
He spoke about how things were in the 1950s. There's a very important part of that conversation that I think is kind of missing. I just think it should be mentioned, right? There's a reason things aren't like they were back then. There's a reason women were fighting so hard to change things, because they were not treated like humans. And men, hold on. It was not a rare thing for. I'm gonna read something real quick.
Okay.
It's just a quick Google search. All I put in was 1950s women's civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
First thing that comes up, top of the search. Women in the 1950s were not allowed to make contracts or wills, could not buy or sell property. This is in law. Had little control over their earnings in most situations, and were discouraged from acting politically, such as holding office, even though they could vote. So women's rights were minimal. Now, if I start to look up how we treated women, or how often men cheated on women or hit women back then, and it wasn't a big deal, or it wasn't addressed legally, don't shake it off. What I'm saying is men F that up. because if men had all the power back then and they used it responsibly to take care of women and family, why would women fight so hard to change things?
Let me tell you this, right? I can tell you this. In my own personal researches too, right? I think you are more deluded by the surface level. Okay. When I say this, I could tell you this as well. Women's rights wouldn't have made any headway if the top % of people, didn't push it. So I've said this, my own personal thing. You gotta think, women and men back in the day, not a whole lot of difference in rights. Yeah, you can vote, but voting wasn't like that. I mean, all these little things is not necessarily the end all be all in rights. I would say this. I'm trying to get my thoughts correctly. I've always felt that feminism was pushed by the few women and pushed by the top % of men, because if you look at it from a wider lens, what did feminism do? Yes, it gave women rights, but if you look at it from an economic standpoint, we were able to increase our labor force. We were double it. We were able to increase our taxation, right? Double it. So what do those benefit more? Who does that benefit more? The top % of people. Because now, if I was, I don't know, an owner of a company, now I just don't have just men working for me. I have women, right? I have more labor. Now, what do you think? They always say that, why does wages stagnate? Well, because there's so many people. So it's hard. There's no rarity to it. So now I could pay people even less because I have a surplus of labor. Those are things that people don't see and understand. That, you know what do you think? The government now can tax more people, extract more resources from more people. I've heard researchers that the average women didn't even care about that stuff. They didn't necessarily march for it. They didn't necessarily like are advocating because the average women, although I'm not saying that their life was amazing, but again, they had marriages, stable marriages, and family. I believe throughout history that has always been the most important thing to women on average. To average women, creating a family, having kids, having a good husband. Now, of course, I'm not saying that things are perfect. Yeah, they may have not had amazing marriages. They may have abuse, but I don't necessarily see it as the underlying reasoning or the prevailing reasoning that made the change. I just felt that there were high class women, like top percent of women, the white women, right? Back then, wanted more control. And then top percent of men, the really rich men, seeing like, you know what? This makes sense that, you know what? Why not push help? Because you got to think, these are laws, these are built because as we think that this is a democracy, still, at the end of the day, the men in power, top percent of men, technically rule. They will decide how things will go. So they see this. I personally see this, and I'm not saying that maybe it could fall in a conspiracy theory thing. That, like I said, now we have more people because children labor was pretty much banned, shit like that, right? So you got to cut children's labor as down. What's the next best thing? Women. We now can put women on the workforce. We could now pay men even less, or this is a bargaining where, why would I need to pay this man when I could just pay this woman? And now the government can tax you even more, take more taxes, double our expenses, double the thing. So I see it is the narrative that pushes by the media, but who controls media? The rich. So I always think that, when we talk about race and minorities, I would bring this. I want to bring it up like these things too, where I think that we are deluded by what's portrayed to us instead of what makes more sense, right? What's more logical sense? Even though even when we talk about the minority thing too, like I said, you will not necessarily get laws passed, things done, voices heard, unless you have the backing of the top percent of people. You won't. So I see it as more logical. Where, why did these things pass? Why did feminism back in the day was a movement that was pushed and passed? Because I believe logically the top percent of people thought, you know what, this is a good thing for us as a top community, as the top percent of people. So I believe that's more because, again, I'm not saying that you're false in that, the abuse or more legal rights of women, but I think that was the veil, right? The veil for the underlying reasonings. So that's my thing.
Okay.
But okay, what do you think about but let's go back to what you thought about. What do you think about, do you think what he said about, like how men are more women, men are more feminine, women are more masculine. Women won't ever go back to the way it was. So things were, things are permanently changed, and they've been overshoot, too very far, where women are really masculine, and like women don't need men, just want men, those stuff where they're talking about. What are your thoughts on those?
I'm thinking about that a little bit more. I don't know that I think it's a bad thing that any person want somebody instead of needing them.
But
I don't think my success in the relationship is dependent on a woman needing me. In fact, it's probably better, I think, if you get someone who you have to work for, right? Like, all right. So for me to get in, we have to do work to get into a relationship, right? We have to prove ourselves worthy of the person we're at, the woman. I don't just like, but if she needs me in a relationship, I get to keep her. Is that what he's saying? Like, if
well,
like if I make all the money and I'm her support system, she's less likely to leave for somebody else.
I would,
Is
my
that's what he was saying? Like,
well, I yeah, pretty much. But I'm more thinking about, let's say this. I'm more thinking about the psychological aspect of it. I think he's right in the sense that if you need someone, you can't see your life without them. If you want them, well, it's such a you want, but you can want multiple things. You can want something right now, but that want can be changed to, you know what, I don't want that anymore. And I believe that's reflected in our current marriage system, where women are so controlled by now. You know what? I love him, but you know what? I don't love him anymore. We grew out of love. That's the thing. What I'm saying, like you hear that so many times. I've heard that in so many stories of women like you grew out of love with somebody. I mean, like you went to the highest level of commitment, marriage, and creating a family, but now you easily broke it because now I don't love him anymore. That's the thing where that's why I said where women viewing that now, right? Yeah, women are more free than ever, have more rights than ever. So now it's like they don't need you. Whether you're in their life or not is not important. If they want you now, they might not want you later. And I've seen that where it's so. And I kind of think it's like need is like more like a physical thing, right? Like in a way, maybe you can't live without the person. Like they're an important part of your life. Where without them, your life is in shambles, or your life is like in pain, or whatever. While you want something like, you know what, they're a plus to your life. If they're in your life, great. If they're not, you move on. So it's
so
that's the levels I'm thinking.
I'm gonna ask this question though: would you want to be with someone who needs you but doesn't love you?
I'm gonna say this, right? I would want to be in a relationship where someone that needs me and respect me. Love. I don't know how you think about it, right? At my age, I've grown to see that, you know what, love can be fleeting. You can love someone today, hate them tomorrow. You can love them 10 years from now and hate them 20 years from now. I've seen that happen. And that's why I've grown to, love is so like, it's so, because love can be based on so many things, right? You had an argument today. I don't love you. You went out to an amazing dinner. You took a trip to Rome. Oh, I love you now. That's why I've grown to think that maybe I think as men, I'd rather her respect me and need me than just say she loves me. That's what I think.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. I don't disagree with you. I think maybe it's just semantics, but I guess it depends on how you define love. Because you can be upset with somebody. It doesn't mean you don't love them anymore. Maybe you don't want to see their face, right? I don't want to talk to you right now. You got on my nerves. But that doesn't mean I'm actually out of love with you. I do think though that love is important in a relationship and something that constantly needs to be worked on. So I'm not saying that you should get upset with your partner and it's okay to leave them. That's not how I feel. Especially if you commit to a marriage, that should be forever. But I think both sides need to work at more than just being, well, it shouldn't be like, yeah, well, you don't have to like me, but you're not going to survive if you leave me. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a good relationship at all.
I think you said it before, right? I don't know if you said it. I don't. Maybe you have. Did you say? I believe you said it before in the Bible, right? That a woman should respect a man, while a man should love a woman. So I think that's more fit. That's my. I mean, although I'm not a Bible thumper, but I don't live by the Bible, but I live by that kind of thought pattern where I've grown to think that I think a respect from a woman, right, is true love, in my opinion.
Okay, all right.
While men, how to show to women is their type of love, right? Because it's emotional. You're trying to do. It's just, well, we both agree that men and women are just different. So in essence, we love differently. So I think if a woman that needs me and respect me, that is her way of true love, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I think you're right. I wasn't gonna bring up Bible, but like, I mean, it's fine. I think in Bible they talk about love, but they talk about they use the word agape.
I don't know.
There's all these different types of love. That's all. And agape is specifically like a principle type of love, and that's the one that they talk about most in the Bible. It's not always tied to how you feel in the moment, but it's tied to love tied to action, I guess. So,
and I think the respect is more action based, right? That's what I'm thinking about, right? Yeah, I think when you respect someone, you show them through actions, while love is probably like more, emotional. So I think that's.
I feel you. But then for a man to show love, he may be, doing all the things like I'm supporting her, I'm showing up, but it also involves doing the things that take her emotions into consideration. You know what I mean? That we aren't always great at, like being talkers and listeners and stuff like that. So I'm just saying that I agree with what you said. I'm just saying that I hope in especially in a marriage, that there's more to the relationship than just financial stability. That's all.
Well, at the end of the day,
I don't think it's a good situation for either party. If not,
yeah, it's who you choose. So let's continue.
Please, if you would, don't give me a whole diatribe on like, I want both. If you can only pick one, what would you pick? Would you rather be single and successful or a happily married housewife? Let's start with you. Single and successful, happily married housewife. Georgia.
Yeah, I'm the one that always says a bit of both. So
this is exactly what I'm thinking about. Women want perfection.
Single and successful or happily married housewife?
Happily married housewife.
Okay. And this is a porno star. By the way, where can we see your work? It's on the internet? Okay. You?
A happily married housewife.
Happily married housewife.
Same thing.
Happily married housewife. Janelle?
Obviously married and happy.
Okay.
Housewife.
Housewife.
Single and successful.
And how old are you again?
23.
Janelle, at what point is that going to change? What age?
30.
30.
Okay,
33. 23. I always
Right
say
around the time they start buying their own drinks.
exactly. Yeah. The question is, who hurt you?
Oh, no one.
Single and successful, happily married housewife.
I've been single and successful right now, happily married housewife.
What's your current relationship status?
Single,
Single. How old are you again?
37.
Okay. And what's your game plan to get you out to get married?
I've had my success on my own. I wanted that. So I fully believe that women.
Before you continue, right? This is the thing where women are not wise. This is what I said before. A smart person learns from their own mistakes. A wise person learns from other people's mistakes. She's 37. She's single and successful. Great. But I get to 100% tell you that her percent is not impossible, right? It's not impossible, but her percentage of now becoming a happy housewife, a happy family, creating a happy family is in low double digits, right? Low double digits, like definitely under 50%, because 37, you are hitting the age where it's hard to have children successfully without complications. And I've been there. So, I've heard so many women have so many complications, with birth because they're in their late 30s. And you gotta think, it's not like tomorrow you're gonna find a good man to marry outside your door. And then not the week after, he's not gonna marry you then. And then the week after, you're not gonna have a children. So it's time frame. You gotta think. I always said it. I broke it down in other videos. It takes time. Let's say even I give it even a woman the best case scenario 37. Well, maybe let's say a year you find a man. Okay, now you found this man at 38. Okay, let's say another year to propose to you or marry you. Now you're 39. Okay, now you're in the marriage. Now it's gonna be another year until you start having a baby at 40. This is the thing where you see that time frame, and that's the best possible, I believe, time frame for a woman. Time clock. So all practically everything is within under a year, which is ridiculous that no one should do, but that's the best case, probably great case scenario. Now being 40 and trying to have your first child. So, and that's like you're hoping you will get it. So this is the thing where women don't understand. So that's why I say now, with no woman is like actually listening to this woman and learning that, wow, now you're flipping. I said you have to choose it. You have to choose which life you will be with for the rest of your life. Not like, oh, let's say I'm gonna be single successful until I'm 37, and now I want to change for the rest of my later half of my life, and now I'm gonna be happily married. That does not work like that. Life does not work when you decide things to happen. It's going to happen, okay? And especially since you neglected the focus of, a good man and children. Well, why would any man now? Because you got to view it on the men's side too. Why would any man now see that? Okay, this 37-year-old woman never cared about a man until now she's over. Now she's much older. So what kind of man think? Why would I want to go for this woman now when she never cared about a man before? So now I'm getting this woman later in her years when I could find another woman, because these are the type of women. I think she's a lawyer or whatever. She's a high earning woman. So what type of high earning man now thinks that, why would I want to get with this older woman who really never cared for a man before when I could get with a, even let's do it even better. A 27-year-old woman who actually wants a man. So this is where women don't listen to other women, because I would see this situation like, you know what? I don't want to be like that, or I have to choose. If she wants to be a career woman, well, that's what you're going to be for the rest of your life. Have hookups, have casual dates, but your life is a career woman, and that's pretty much it. What do you think?
Okay. I don't think things are that dire for her.
I'm not saying dire. That's what I said. The percentage.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's zero, but I'm saying that.
But and I feel you on like the biology part. And at that point, there's not much you can do. That's just how our bodies work. But she could find a man, and she could be happy.
Any woman can find a man.
Huh?
Any woman can find a man. That's not the point. That's not the point, right?
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. Like as far as having a family, that time might have passed for her, having her and everything. But
I also think having a good man could also pass for her. Or no, a good man that fits her standards has passed for her, in my opinion. Because, like I said, a man that one of these women that would think that a good, decent man would also be the tax bracket too. So why would a man that, of course, makes high amount of money, but he's a good man, not go with let's say a 27-year-old woman instead of going with a 37-year-old woman? That's the thing where women don't understand that. Well, the same type of man you want, well, he would want a woman that also not waited until late in her life or late in her midlife to decide, oh, now I want a man. personally, right? I've dated women who put career first, and this is the point where we also said needed instead of wanted, right? Where you don't put I said to you, I said this too. I've dated women who are single mothers, where you are not a priority. When you and I don't know your dating life, but when you are put as the lowest priority on the lowest priority list, that does not feel good at all, because you would have to put her on the highest priority of your list. That's the thing where maybe you don't see, or men don't see, where there's a point where you're dating some people that where's the equality in that, where they put you lower on the list while you have to put them higher on the list. So no.
So I'm gonna ask. That's interesting. I don't know. I haven't been in a relationship with anybody who's had children.
Really?
Close, but I haven't. No, but I haven't been in a relationship with someone with children. I'm just asking a question. So, a married couple, about the same age, in their say mid-20s or whatever, get together, get married, have children. For both the man and the woman, are they each other's highest priority, or are their children a higher priority? I'm curious.
Well, okay, let me say this, right? If if that question is a frame in like how society works, then their children is the highest priority, right? If it's framed in how I feel, how I see it should be,
okay,
is the husband and wife should be the highest priority.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I always look at this, right? And again, I'm not saying that your children should be the lowest on your priority.
Yeah,
right?
I know what you mean. You're not ignoring your family, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm saying this. You gotta think about this in a way that, and I hate how modern day is, right? They always put that, oh, my children comes first. Well, then, if you're fine with that, then you should be fine with losing your wife or losing your husband. I always say that at the end of the day, your children will become adults and they will leave the house. So the person that you didn't think was the highest of your priority, if they're not in your life anymore, now what do you have? You have an empty house with kids now having their own priorities where you're not a priority. So that's why I think that's the fallacy, or just the terribleness of modern day dating, modern day marriages, or maybe even old school marriages. I don't really know like that, or like that. But that way of thinking is that you are prioritizing people kids or future people that at the end of the day, you're not going to be their priority. So you're not thinking it straight. And like I said, I'm not saying they're the lowest on your priority where everything else is more priority than your kids. No, but number one should be your partner. Number two should be your kids. So that's how I see it as. Or, well, maybe number one, your or you know what? Maybe I see this all right. Number one, you. Number two, your partner. Number three, your kids.
Okay. All right. Cool.
That's how I see it as it should be, because at the end of the day, if you don't care about yourself, who's going to care about you? And I also think that you should definitely care about your partner, because at the end of your life, who's going to be with you? Well, most likely your wife or your partner. So, yeah. What do you think?
So, I mean, I guess I'm of the opinion, and I think we agree this is how it kind of works too. A married couple with children are gonna both make their children the priority. So you kind of and for a time, right? Because you're right, children are gonna grow up and become adults and move out and have their own lives, and you won't be their priority. I get that, but there's a time when they're developing that they need your attention more than anything. They need your support. They need a lot. So if you're a parent, that's just a job. That's how I see it.
I want to say this. Well, okay, with your thought of that, don't you think that's because with looking at how the marriage system or the marriage in the Western world working, I believe, don't you see it as like maybe that is probably part of the reason why we are failing in our marriages because I'm not saying you're right. That is society where we put our kids first, but then we ignore our partners. We ignore, the romance. We ignore the loving, the caring, all the stuff of our partner because we put that all on our kids. So let's say, fine, yeah, you're right. And I don't disagree with you, right? People in modern day now, they put all that love and attention on their kids for, let's say, when they're born to 18, right? Or let's say even lower that, when they're born until like, let's say 13.
Mm-hmm.
So that 13 years of you neglecting each other, what do you think that's gonna? How do you think that's gonna build the marriage? Or you're not putting much focus on each other, the partnership, but your focus is completely on your kids. So then, at the end of the day, let's say at 13, now all your kids are in their teenage years, and now you mainly have YouTube because I'm telling you, I've seen it. Kids like, oh, I'm gonna go out hang with my friends, or I want to go see the movies, or I gotta go to a prom, I gotta go this, I gotta do that. So in the house it's just YouTube, but you just had almost 13 years of pretty much really, don't care about each other. So now what? You're practically now strangers. I've seen it where 13 years we probably had sex every other month or every couple months. It's like, or we probably would have date, every couple months, once every couple months, because every other weekend we're taking our kids out and doing stuff. So it's like that's a recipe for a woman or a man. Oh, you know what? My coworker was giving me compliments. My coworker was giving me, advances. Now this other person is giving me attention that my partner has not given me for years. That's why I see that we are deluded, and that's a detriment. Because now, and I've seen it in also cases where, because they put so much emphasis on their kids, a lot of people think, oh, my kid's now my retirement plan. Because when I'm old and crippled, or when I'm old and like whatever, I think my kids should be there to take care of me. No, your partner, the man or woman that you built this marriage with is, I want to say retirement plan, but those are the people, that's the person who should be helping taking care of you when you're old. So I think that's the fallacy of modern day marriage and, I don't know, families.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's interesting. I mean, I agree with you. You should definitely not neglect your partner, and you should not count on your children, even though I believe that, especially if you're a good parent, you're a good parent who teaches your children right, that they do have some responsibility for, like, I believe I have a responsibility to my parents that when they need me, I should be there for them in their older age. So, but that aside, I do think it's a matter of degrees. Like I still believe in a marriage with children, that children should be priority. But I think that both partners should be on the same page about that. And it still doesn't mean neglecting each other. And if you're partners, you're really helping each other and working together. So you should be aware of what your partner needs too. But I'm not a parent, so there's only so much I can say about that. If you go into a relationship with someone who already has children, I feel like you have to expect that you wouldn't be, you wouldn't get all their attention. And if attention is something you need, that's fine. Then you're right. A single parent is not the person you should be with. But I still don't think it's a stupid idea to get with someone who's a single parent, because, well, by the time, like, all right, this woman, I don't know if this woman we were talking about originally even has kids, but she doesn't have kids, right? She was a career woman, but she's 37.
Mm-hmm.
A 40-year-old man might pick her over a 27-year-old because there's a maturity gap. Because they don't like or feel or think the same things. They're just not on the same page. The 23-year-old who they mentioned was like, I don't want a man. I want to do my own thing, right? And they said, well, that'll probably change when you're 30, because we all change as we get older.
Wow.
So a man might appreciate the connection and partnership he has with a 37-year-old far more than someone who's 27. And they may
I would
never
say maybe a 50-year-old.
Huh?
I wouldn't say maybe a 50-year-old man.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a 40-year-old man. But you got, because I always think that, and again, that's why you're right, bringing in the 23-year-old woman, because that's what I'm saying. She's not. This is the delusion of modern day women, that you're not listening to the other women, right? Here's a 37-year-old woman, still single, and she's a career woman. Well, this is that image, what you will be. So this is what you want. Well, don't change your mind. This is the problem with, like, just like the very first woman who's saying, like, she wants both. You are, I'm going to say that to my kids, where, fine, you want both? Well, don't expect it. Don't think you will get it. Because if you get it, you hit the lottery. That's how rare it will be, in my opinion, to have a successful career, not a job, because we probably said it before, like, in today's modern society, both people should probably have jobs. Or, I believe it too. Even if I'm a provider, I want my partner to have a job, at least, in the sense that she doesn't have to work, but she should work. She should contribute to a family. But it's not a necessity. That's my views on it. Where I think you should work. You shouldn't. I mean, or depending on, like, your level of. Because even if, like, let's say, even if I had a stay-at-home wife, I think she should be doing things that, like, still, like, I don't know, selling crafts, doing things that you could do from home too. That's what I'm thinking about. You should have a job, other things to bring in, because we want to bring in extra income. That's my thing. But again, having a successful career is different than having just a job. So successful career requires more effort, more time, just more energy. So you can't expect you're going to put so much time and energy on a successful career and think that you could also put the same amount of time and energy in creating a successful marriage and family. So that's the delusion of modern women, where they think they could do it all, which is, the fallacy of feminism, where they promote, oh, you can do it all, you can have it all, which is ridiculous.
Okay.
Like, everything's disorder right now, but we need to recalibrate masculine and feminine.
Mhm.
I used to run things at an office. I'm tired
Yeah.
of doing that, right? I think women are expected to be up in the, they're running companies, they're at the house running their families. That's exhausting. We're not supposed to be doing that. I'm all for empowering women in a career if they choose that, and I support that, but you cannot have both and not be exhausted.
Give me your name again.
Sarah.
Here's why I fully agree with you, because we're kind of around the same age. I know a lot of girls your age, late 30s, early 40s, who made their money, and they're wondering, what the fuck happened to me?
Yeah.
Okay. So walk me through the mindset, and, like, what would you tell this girl right here next to you? Say hi to Maria. By the way, something I know about Maria is, one time I asked her, we were at model volleyball,
Yes.
and I was like, rate yourself 1 through 10 on the crazy scale. She goes,
Oh, yeah.
11. Okay, I was like, okay, got it.
Not crazy.
I know Maria now. What's your advice to this girl so she doesn't end up, no offense, like you, 37, single, successful, but wants to be married?
Look, if I wanted to be married 10 years ago, I could have been.
No doubt.
It's not that I didn't want that. Saying I chose the path I chose for my own specific reason. I think everyone chooses their
But I think that's, before I continue, that's a perfect point. What let's say I'm a man that makes a lot of money, pretty much equal to her or better. I see this woman who's so much older now. She chose that she didn't want a man when she was, and maybe we could talk about it too. Women's prime is early in their 20s. That's their prime, the most attractive, the most fertile. So if you say God, well, okay, fine. If God thinks that is a woman's prime birthing, age.
Mm-hmm.
So that's technically her prime, her best years. So why would I want a woman that chose to give up her best years and not care about a man? And now after your best years are gone or past you, now you want me? I mean, that's what is ridiculous. And I think she shouldn't like. It's great that she would if she's going to do it to try to steer women differently. But you chose that life. Well, you should stick with it until death. That's it.
Okay.
What? What do you think?
Oh no. You know, I didn't have anything to say other than she said almost exactly what you said right before he played the clip about you know picking a time to get married or picking a path and sticking with it. So
yeah. So, but I don't know if she's gonna say it, but like the problem is with women that they will always think that, and this is why we probably talk about like I like Kevin Samuels that he will hold a mirror to a woman and say, "Great, you chose a career. You know, your focus is a career. Well, now you will stay single and die alone." I love, and you know what? I love that directness. That's why I love the man, because that is true. That is like basically true. You know, I mean, yeah, maybe you can find a 50-year-old man. Maybe you could, but men, let's say a 37-year-old man, well, that makes makes 6K. I mean, makes 6 figures or more. He's also attract women that are 27, women that are 23 are also attracted to him too. So, you know.
But for you, I think you should pursue what makes you happy until you feel fulfilled enough to be a partner to someone. Because if you don't and you become someone's partner too soon, you're gonna regret not ever doing something.
Yeah.
Some people hit that point at 22. Some people hit it at 35. And that's not for anyone to determine what's right or wrong. It's like you with 3 girlfriends. Good for you and them. They chose that.
I have a question for you real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you could turn back the hands of time, and go back and give up your success, knowing the knowledge that you have now, the wisdom that you have now, right? You've experienced a career, you have the money, so you have that 20/20 hindsight. If you could go back in time and be in a state where, let's be honest here, you're more marketable to get the man that you truly want, would you do it?
I think that's complicated because right now I was very, very much more of a tomboy and more of a masculine energy when I was in my 20s.
No, but with the mindset that you have now, let's be honest. I mean, let's be brutally honest here. Once a woman hits 30 plus, your ability to command force in the marketplace and get the man that you truly want and keep him is almost diminished. So knowing the knowledge that you have now, right? You've experienced the success. You got 20/20 hindsight. You have the wisdom you have now. 20 years prior. Would you move differently? Would you not have chased that same career?
So I would move differently in that I would shorten what I did. I didn't want kids from a young age. I still do not want kids. So that didn't determine my.
Well, she won't get it.
You don't want kids.
No, I don't. I do not. I love children. I don't need any of my own.
At what age did you determine you don't want kids?
I've never wanted them.
Okay. What percentage of women do you think agree with you?
I don't think it's a choice that I've made personally.
So what percentage of women do you think agree with you?
I think it's probably pretty low of
what percentage?
That don't want kids.
Percentage of women that do not want kids.
I don't know, girls. Like probably.
Raise your hand on the panel if you want to have kids at some point in your life.
I'm gonna have more. I have one and
I would get.
You don't want kids?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
I didn't.
You better figure that thing out. How old are you again?
32.
Yeah, you better start thinking about that.
You guys are going to.
Okay. Ladies on the panel back there. Show of hands who don't want kids. Don't want kids.
So here's
So 90% of women want kids. By the way, men, raise your hand if you guys want kids. Okay.
Yeah, that's like almost the whole audience.
Raise your hand if you don't want kids as a man. So every man wants.
Wow. There's like
okay. Raise your hands if you think you'd be a good father.
Okay,
look at this man. But raise your hands if you think you'd be an absentee father.
Who does that? Who does that?
This guy's like, I already am an absentee father.
Something very interesting. So for her, right? And I don't mean to pick on you here with this.
No,
Like
I
she would do things differently and still, went ahead and got in a relationship. I guarantee you, it would be even more strong in her mind that I would want that relationship early on if
Yes.
she wanted children.
But
So,
I
like,
also would have done it earlier, even with my current life. That's my point. I
Yeah.
did that for too long to where
I'm
I
saying you don't
burned
even
out.
have the children
Yeah.
stimuli and you still want it.
But-
But I'm arguing like if you wanted the children, it would have been even stronger in your mind that,
Stronger.
wow, I should have settled in like younger.
Here's my thing about kids. I love them. I've dated mostly men with kids. I just never had the biological urge to have my own. I didn't close the door. I just thought someday it would come. It never did.
I appreciate what you're saying. Thank
Very
you.
honest.
I'm doing some basic math. You're of the minority in this discussion.
I
Hold on.
agree.
I have a question
Okay.
for you.
Yeah.
So, question for you: do you think FOMO is a real thing for women, like FOMO?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But I also don't at the same time because I'm doing things now that I didn't get to do in my 30s.
Like what?
Well, my early 30s rather. Like I moved back to Miami from California where I worked 70, 80-hour weeks just to get ahead because that's what you did. And I was fucking miserable. Sorry.
You were what?
I was miserable because I was trying to do what society said people did.
Well, I
in my
think it's
career.
fair to say men were born and built to work. Like, I don't know any man who's like, just tired, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I know a lot of women who are like, get me out of this fucking workforce.
Yeah, that's
And that's
where
the
I'm at
problem
now.
is that at some point, sometimes it might hit you when you're 37 years old.
Well-
I'd rather learn that when I'm 27.
Women's
Yeah.
hormones are
Will.
designed to work like
What's
that.
that?
Our hormones are constantly fluctuating
Yeah.
differently than men. We're not designed to be in that 8 to 5 or 9 to whatever it was,
Yeah,
9
no,
to 10
we're-
rise. We're
We're
just
not.
Gotcha.
but she did it because of
Because
societal
of society
modern
pressure.
feminism. Thank you guys.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you, modern feminism.
Thanks
Yeah.
for ruining it for
Clap
us.
it up for
No, I think it's ridiculous that she would still choose a career life. She basically said that. So I don't
So
know.
I think it's complicated. I kind of agree with her. So,
What?
just speaking from my own experience, not even about gender, but like, all right, if I might have made different decisions when I was 25 about the career I pursue and the relationships I got into, knowing what I know now. But there's two things about that. One, nobody at 25 knows what they know at 40. Nobody. It's impossible. Now, you can hear it from someone else, but here's where the other part takes place. If in your heart you want something, but you take somebody's advice and go after something you don't want, there's going to be a long stretch where you're not happy. And if you're not happy, if I went after something I didn't want when I was 25 and I was unhappy doing it, by the time I got to 40, I would hate being in that situation because I would think back on it and have nothing but bad memories. You know what I mean? So it's tough. Like you could say to her, well, yeah, you should have gotten into a relationship or pursued marriage when you were 27. But if that's not what she wanted and she did it anyway, she may have gotten bitter with her partner. And now by the time she's 37, she hates the idea of marriage. You see what I'm saying? She wouldn't be the same person. So I'm not saying it's wrong for her to think back and be like, yeah, maybe I should have done this sooner. But I just think it's difficult to say for sure. You know what I mean?
No. You make a really good point. I admit that like wisdom is not an easy thing to acquire when we're in our early 20s.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Like, I always wish that if I had my state of mind now, back when I was in my 20s.
Yeah,
because
I wish.
yeah, I mean, like because like sometimes I see your point. And sometimes I just feel like we are so guideless and we don't listen. And I see, well, you know, I mean, maybe it's just human nature then, you know, but sometimes we just don't listen and we really want to experience things ourselves.
Yeah, then later you're like, oh, I should have done the other thing.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a weird psychology of humans, right? That they desire to, you know, go through the crap just to experience it, say that they did it. I don't know. I mean, personally, my own view, like I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to do that. If I could, I would have gone back in time with this state of mind. Just been with one girl, one good girl. You know, being a virgin, being with one good girl, did that thing, and create my life how I should have created it. Be a man, pick a woman that is a true woman, and focus on what is really a man. Creating a career, creating a life, being a provider, protector. I wish I thought that early on in my life, and I didn't. I had me personally, I had no. I really didn't have a father in my life like that. I had no guidance. So, I was forced to, make my mistakes when I had to make them. So, but I don't disagree with you how you see it. Like, I mean, and I've seen it with my sisters, or I've seen it with other people where they just, I guess, you always have parents telling you don't do this, tell you don't do that.
Yeah.
And yet people still do it. So, and I had no one to do that for me, right? I had no one really guiding me, telling me, oh, you could do this, you should do that, this, that. No one in my life growing up really gave me advice, gave me guidance. So I didn't have that, but I had other people giving other people advice, and they won't listen. And because they want to, they think they know best. They want to make their own mistakes. So, I mean, I see your point. I just think it's foolish, but I don't disagree. That's human for you.
Yeah.
So.
Modern feminism.
Oh my God.
Just kidding. By the way, can we just go to the couch real quick? I want the ladies on the couch to get some FaceTime. I appreciate you ladies being here. The question I asked was single and successful or happily married housewives. Pick one.
I would like to be happily married. If that were to never happen, obviously single and successful.
Way to be very diplomatic. I want that. Go ahead.
Happily married and successful. Don't fight me.
Literally said pick one.
You just contradict yourself all the time.
I was very clear. You have to pick one. Okay.
Questions change too much, they can't.
That's true.
Single and successful.
But see, I think that is a perfect example of the delusion of modern women. Like I said, practically every woman on this, at least in the Western world, think they can have it all. Their cake and eat it too. And that's going to be a detriment to women. Or that is a detriment to women.
Until I'm 30, because I study way too much right now to not become successful.
How old are you now?
22.
Question for you. Do you think you'll still be able to command the same love man at 30 years old as you can command now at 22?
I think I can command that man right now to wait for me when I'm 30.
Oh, shoot.
Okay.
What did she say?
She said she could command that guy to wait for 8 years.
8 years.
You do realize that the guy that you want isn't going to wait or be on your time, right?
Well, I don't know who that guy is right now, but I know I'm going to meet a guy when I'm 30. Are you going to tell me I'm going to change dramatically at 30?
Well, here's the thing.
Yes.
If did you not say you want a man that's a leader earlier?
Huh.
Okay. If I hold off if I want to get with you when you're at your peak and I hold off on that quite literally puts you in the leadership role. And I've effectively relinquished my leadership role.
So do you think I should just drop out of law school and get married and just get kids?
Before we go, this is what I'm saying. Right?
That's.
I would say this is one thing, right? No, I personally, if I was in Myron's shoes, I would say personally, right? No, you choose what life you want to live, but you gotta stick with that life. If you want to be successful in a career, that is your life. Women think that they can have it all. And then the type of women that think they can have it all and then found out they can't have it all will be the one that are bitter, that are resentful, that says all men are crap, all men are shit, there's no good men out there. That happens so much. And then that you either become alone and spite all men and have a high body count because you've been with just a whole lot of sexual partners, or you become a single baby mama. So really, it's a path that you have to think about. Women are, I've said before, they're so lazy They think things can happen when they feel like it will happen. Here's a woman think that, oh, I will find a good man when I'm 30. You're so lazy. That's not how it works. Because you can put so much effort into having a career, but you put so little effort into finding a good man. That's why this is the delusion I'm talking about. What do you think?
Hey man, on this one, I'm gonna just listen because that is an interesting question. I mean, she just asked me,
I'm not.
like, should I drop out of law school? I want to see what they have to say about that.
Here's the thing. When it comes to in your particular situation, what I am saying is that find a guy while you're in law school and be prepared. Like, hey, you want to get your degree? I have no problem with women that want to chase a degree and get educated, whatever it may be. That's fine. But that comes second to your man and your family. That's what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with women having a backup plan, but you need to also be realistic and understand that your success isn't going to make you more attractive to the man that you want. And here's the thing: you're about to be a lawyer. You're going to be a higher earner. You're going to be in that top, 15% of earners in the United States. You're going to want a guy who's on your level, if not better. And those guys aren't necessarily concerned with your status and your income. And I think this is one of the biggest things that women don't understand that are educated and successful.
Yeah, if I can add to that, what's the girl's name again?
Tony.
Yeah. If you're in law school, you're smart, you're attractive girl, get your degree. It's all good. What I'm gonna do is take a line from Patrick Bet-David, my CEO. Shout out to PVD in the house. Okay. By the way, thank you, PVD, for what he's done. He's going to be in the back of the cigar lounge with the VIPs afterwards. He's probably back there right now. Maybe if he's nice, we'll make an appearance here. We'll see. But PVD wrote a book, Wall Street Journal bestseller, called Your Next 5 Moves. And the centerpiece of the book was, who do you want to be? So the question to you, was it Tony?
Yeah.
Okay, the question is, who do you want to be? So you're going to go through law school. I get it. I fully agree with Myron. Get your degree. All good. But not to throw lovely Sarah under the bus, do you want to be 37, a successful lawyer, still single, but you're doing great in law? You work for Greenberg Trarg down here in Miami. Or do you want to actually be married and have kids? And you can still be a lawyer, but you might have to put that on the back burner to support your man. So
yeah, absolutely. My first question is, how many 22-year-old guys do you think want to get married right now? Because I think in the general
why would you be with a 22-year-old?
You don't want a 22-year-old.
Well, because I'm 22 years old.
You want
so
an
when I
older
say
guy.
I'm ready to get married at 30, I think most men my age are going to be ready to get married at 30, right?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you don't want a guy that's 22. So let's say you meet this guy that's 30.
I want a guy that's at 30 when I'm 30. So when I'm ready to get married, most men will be ready to get married.
A guy that's 30 doesn't want a woman that's 30. They want younger women.
Well, maybe
and what I wanted at 20 and I wanted at 30 is very different than what I wanted at 40.
What
I wanted at 20 and what I wanted at 30, and now that I'm 40, are completely different.
Walk us through your mindset. What's the difference?
So when you're
And listen, ladies, here's what you should listen and stop talking. Listen to the 40-year-old on the panel, okay?
at 20, you're looking short term, right? You're looking what's right now, what your life's going to look like, how you can party, how you can move on, you can go to school, you can do all of that. 30s, you're starting to look at family. You're starting to look, I chose very wrong in my 30s, very wrong. And he started to take on the less masculine role, and that's when I filed for divorce. I wasn't happy being with somebody that was going to allow me to make all the decisions. But now at 40, I want somebody that's going to be a leader and is going to show me.
At 40?
Now that you're 40.
Yeah, now that I'm 40, I want somebody that's that's more commanding and more like.
So you're 40. What put odds on this
I'm
thing,
not single,
Gigi?
baby.
What's that?
I'm not. Well, I have answered him. I'm not single.
Okay.
So. She's married. Yeah.
You're married right now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And what does he think about the fact that you're a porno star?
He supports it completely.
Okay.
How is that a manly man? I cannot, in my honest opinion, I cannot see any true manly man okay with any woman having sex with other men. That's ridiculous.
Okay. I agree with you. I don't think I'm okay with it, but There are guys whose wives are not in the. They're swingers and cuckolds and
Well,
guys.
okay, maybe if she's dating, maybe she's married to another porn star. Okay, I guess maybe that's
Maybe that too. Maybe he's just super secure. He's like,
no. There's no such. I mean, I don't think there's no such thing. I mean,
I'm
it's right. If he is a type of man that's, yeah, that you're right, swingers or open relationship where he's also doing it with other women, then okay, that I guess that makes that's the only reason. That's the only thing where it's a man that's also having sex with other women. Fine, which is I think is a recipe for a terrible marriage. But okay, fine.
Not what I prefer either. I agree. So.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be candid. Let's be candid. When she was in her 20s, that guy probably wouldn't have been your first choice.
But that
I said, being candid here, the guy that you're currently with now probably wouldn't have been your first choice when you were at your peak in your 20s.
So I actually knew him back when we had
Proves my point even further.
Yep. I went from one marriage to another one.
Yeah,
so,
but you kept him there
Yes.
because you knew what it was. You're basically, you did the same strategy that the lawyer girl is trying to exercise now. What I'm saying is that the man that you want is not going to wait because
That's
other
right.
women are knocking at his door. He's
Okay.
in demand. He can replace you.
agree.
And I don't think women understand that once you go up the totem pole of success when it comes to the male hierarchy, you have less and less and less leverage. So you got to be on his program. He says, hey, I'm ready to do this right now. School. You need to go ahead and jump on that wagon right then and there because if you don't, somebody else will. And I don't think women understand. There's plenty of beautiful women. There's plenty of girls that will fall in line. There's a new girl turning 18 every single day. And the thing that women don't get is that it's extremely easy to satisfy a man, but it's not extremely easy to satisfy a woman. So understand that you don't have leverage, but we live in this crazy world where women think that they have leverage. You guys really don't. The man picks you, you don't pick him.
All right. It's a lot of things. What do you think?
Wow, Myron. Okay. Sheesh. I mean, I don't even know what to say.
Okay, let me say some stuff too. Then maybe you could get a thought. I think it's again, like I've been saying, it is this is why I said what we were talking before, where this is the problem where we just don't value wisdom, where people say stuff to you, but you just don't listen because you think you know best, you think things will go how you want it, how you planned it. Like the 22-year-old, she thinks that she will find a 30-year-old when she's 30 herself. But we have to there's always context to everything. Myron was right in the sense that when this young woman is 30, well, yeah, she'll be a high earner. There's a difference in men. Men that are high earners are drastically different, right, to men that are average earners. So a man that's high earner, when she's 30, he's 30, he's a high earner. Well, her being 30, well, it's attracted to him that, he's a high earner, he's 30, he's what she's attracted to, right? He's perfect. He's whatever that she wants.
Mm-hmm.
But that type of man, a 22-year-old woman would also be attracted to him. A 25-year-old woman will also be attracted to him. Hell, maybe even an 18-year-old girl, right? So that's the thing where women don't understand. The type of men you want. This is like the 20-year-old woman when she becomes 30. She's not gonna be attracted to a McDonald's worker because if she is, then he'll probably only see her. She's not gonna be attracted to a postal worker, a bus driver, shit like that, because they don't. So maybe they will only see her. Maybe they. I mean, I've said this before, and it's not 100% a fact or 100% certain, but men with the more option a man has,
I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, the more likelihood that he is a type of man that will will take up those options, right? He will either cheat or he will say that he doesn't want to get married. He wants to just you were a girlfriend, but then he has other girls as well. Multiple things where it's rare that a man of higher value will say that I just want to be committed with one woman. It's just there's no logic in it where a man, and it's just you gotta think this is a problem where I've talked about before. She's not fine. She's not building with no man, and this is what kind of Myron is saying too. You get with a man at a younger age where you can build with a man, right? You build with a man and you have a future together. But this is the problem with modern women. She wants a man when at her 30s, which he'd probably be already built. So really, you just waited for a man at the finish line. So now he sees you as, I don't know, kind of a gold digger or just a woman that not there with him through his lows, but you're there with him when he's at his high. Mm-hmm. So he's going to treat you at the same. He's going to treat you at a certain way because he's like, this woman has not been there for me when I was down, when I was penniless, but she's there with me when I'm, I have a yacht and I have a mansion and shit like that. So really, most women do that. So I could date her, but I'm also going to date the 18-year-old. I'm going to also probably date the 22-year-old. So this is the women, they don't understand that, what you want, other women will want as well. So what you want is going to be
harder to get.
Harder to get. So it's more logical. At 22, if she wants a man her own age, well, build with him, right? Build with him, and then when you're 30, well, he'll be 30 as well. I would say that. If you want a man like that, then build with him. But it's ridiculous that women think they can have things, have everything, and have it when they want it.
Okay.
Well, what do you think?
I mean, I can't totally disagree. I mean, I feel like there's a percentage of men who like women their age and older women, but in mass, I don't disagree with you.
Do you think that sometimes I don't know if those, again, in mass, there probably are a percentage of men, but are those percentages of men high earner men? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
That's why I don't. I'm thinking about it logically, right? Yeah, maybe men like me and you.
So you think that
average men
changes who you're attracted to, how much money you make?
What?
You think that I'm just asking. You think that drastically changes who you're attracted to? Like the amount of money you make changes who you're attracted to? I mean, I can see it changing who I think I can realistically get, but
well, you got. I mean, yeah, but realistically get. But I also think that men are just attracted to beauty. Period. So yeah, a 30-year-old is attractive, but a 20-year-old is just as attractive too. So why not? Why not? If both women want me, why not? I'm just dating both women. So really, that's the thing where, and I have the resources, I have the money. Women left and right wants me. That's what I'm saying. Where you gotta see it logically. A man that you didn't build with, you waited at the finish line with, so he has no special connection to you, right? He has no. You gotta think of this. Why? I mean, crazy. Why Bill Gates, picked such an ugly woman to be with? Well, she was there through his hard times. She's an average woman. She was there with him, built when he was building the shit up, right? I think she divorced him too. So
yeah.
But whatever. That's just how it goes. Where you want a man, and I think they were pretty much same age. They don't understand that. Why would you? I think logically, most women, especially women that earn a lot of money, they're not going to date men their same age. I don't see that happening because there's kind of like a two different lifestyle, right? Average men and then high earning men. They live like separate lives. So I think they're not people don't ever distinguish it differently. And you know what? Just like when they say high value man, I don't call myself a high value man. I don't know anyone that's a high value man because those type of men are rare. So people will say, oh, high value man, you gotta have good character. No, it's just money. It's just money and status. High value man. A good character man could be any kind of man. You don't have to be high value to be, you know, high. You don't have to have good character.
High value is talking about.
It's just status, money, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes it sounds. I get it. Sometimes it sounds like. Well, what do you mean? I'm not valuable. Like,
but you gotta think.
But I know what you mean. Like, it's not just referring to a man's status or a person's status.
But no, but let me tell you this, right? I will say this. Technically, you're not. Technically, I'm not valuable, right? You gotta think. Part of the thing where high value man is that you're valuable to other people. Where, let's say, a CEO, right? Well, his employees value him too, because without him, they're not having a job. Right, you are valuable. A president, whatever these high positions. Well, you have there's so many people lower than you, equal to you, value you. They need you. They see your importance. Average people, sadly, we don't have that kind of value. People don't generally value average people like that. So I would say different, but it's like it's not a bad thing. Right? We don't live, average people don't live life to be valuable to strangers or what shit like that. So, and we throw around like, and again, I think Kevin Samuel made it popular, but people are throwing it around like it's nothing because they don't understand the concept of it. So, anyway, that's
women becoming more masculine and men becoming more feminine. You guys have gained worldwide notoriety for the Frank Castle move. So some girls, when they get out of pocket, walk me through what has to happen in order for a girl to do that. Should we play the clip first? Play the clip. Okay, let's play the clip of what happens when a girl acts a little too masculine and alpha around Myron and Fresh. Okay.
Y'all can say what you want to say. Here's the reality. This is why chivalry's dead and women killed it. I mean, y'all can say what you want to say, man. But why is a man, real talk, like feminism is here. Women are more educated than ever before. They make their own money. You know what I'm saying? And as a byproduct of them making their own money and becoming more successful, you get a little bit more masculine energy. You're not going to be a heavy hitter making money by being passive and a pussy. You're going to become a little bit more masculine, right? And then on top of that, women are just having a little bit more recreational.
Okay. He's calling out a girls being as masculine. Not this one. Yeah, this one. What happened here? Hold on. Play this clip. I think it's the one before. Yeah.
I would say Elvis, but I don't think this is Crucible.
I can't.
Okay, the last male that you were sexually involved with.
No. That's not an answer. In person? No. Never.
All right, yo, get the fuck off the show, man.
Thank you. I was waiting for me to be kicked out.
Oh, God bless. Stupid. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Shit mad weird. Y'all don't even pull the shit.
Okay, so this girl got the boot. That's happened before. There's also another one right here.
I also want to, I don't know if you guys caught that. She said you're mad weird. Let's peel that back later. Putting your foot down is considered weird in 2023 with disrespectful and rambunctious women. So let's continue to be fucking weird.
Okay. Speaking of
that's
weird,
how much of a foreign concept it is, yeah.
And just to add some context here, the whole show she was being like disingenuous, shouting out random stuff. So that was like
that was the end game of like an hour plus of disrespect. And when I kicked her out and finally put my foot down, she said, "You're weird." That should speak volumes as to the world that we're in now, where she's not used to men holding her accountable and kicking her out or giving her negative consequences for poor decisions.
Okay. We have one more clip. Speaking of girls acting weird, or accusing you of being weird, there's one more clip, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Stay weird, gentlemen.
There's Chris showing up.
Who's playing you, stupid bitch? No, bitch, you fucking stupid. Nobody's playing your
Are you fighting?
Yo,
What kind of memories nostalgia come back when you see?
Shout out to Tommy, man.
Clips like this.
Shout out to Tommy.
That bitch was strong as fuck. I won't lie. Yeah, shout out to Tommy Sotomayor. Yeah, I mean, she hit him first. And at the end of the day, I tell women this all the time, right? I told my sister this, etc. Understand that if you hit the wrong guy, he might hit you back. He might actually give you the equality that you wanted. Not every guy's gonna exercise temperance and not hit you back. Right? Me personally, if a girl hits me, I ain't hitting her back. But other guys are gonna give you the equality you asked for. So don't try it.
Yeah, there's a saying that says equal rights, equal lefts. Now, we don't hate women.
Equal rights, equal lefts.
That's a saying.
Oh, Jesus.
But,
Jorge,
you know,
can we turn everybody up a little bit? We're getting a little low.
Yeah. So I mean, again, we never advocate for violence against women, etc. But some guys will take that opportunity to exercise full self-defense to the fullest extent, even if it's at the, at a female. So, ladies, never put your hands on a never put your hands on a guy because you don't know what his background is.
But do we know what triggered her?
They had an argument basically over it's a long story, but basically her friend fucked Tommy, and there was some dispute about OnlyFans.
And Mari Idol, man, that girl was strong as fuck. I won't lie to you. She was like, if I didn't play football, that bitch would have had me on the ground.
It was a love triangle of jealousy, to summarize.
And apparently she went to Dubai and some porta pottying. You know what I mean? After fact.
I don't know. Walt's got some wild stories. Well, I think with that being said, you were kind of touching on a little bit. I think it'd be important for you to clear the air because I actually think you are respectful to women unless they disrespect you. So, you've been called all the names in the book. Chauvinist, misogynist, women hater,
racist now too.
Racist, whatever. Why don't you clear the air? How do you really feel about women?
Well, I
had to be Zerka, bro.
My thing is that they're one of the most prized commodities in the world. But with that said, with women comes responsibility, and you have to understand that responsibility is on you to be the leader and lead her the correct way. Because if you don't, she's going to lead the relationship, and we know what happens when women lead. It's to the end of the relationship. So it's on the guy. I think at the end of the day, the ultimate responsibility comes on the guy. So if you get finessed by a girl, it's your fault. If a girl treats you poorly, it's your fault. A woman's behavior is typically a mere reflection of that man's masculinity and frame.
And I think it's important just to add this as well, is that we learn women not to hate them, but to understand them. And ultimately, you want to be next to them because having kids and a family is important.
And to know that you're the leader, which means if you're the leader, you bear the responsibility. Like the thing is that a lot of people look at our content and say, y'all just bash women, blah, 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 blah. No, we respect women, we treasure women, but we understand their nature that they're not leaders. The man has to be the leader. If there's a issue in the relationship a lot of the times, infidelity, blah, 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 it's your fucking fault as the man. But they don't click that part, do they?
What do you think?
I'll be honest with you, man. I agree with him. Like, one, not to say that. All right, if a woman treats you poorly, he said, if a woman treats you poorly, it's your fault. And I mean, they're bad. They're terrible people.
Well, I think he's talking about in general.
But no. But I see what he's saying. What I take from that is you shouldn't put up with disrespect. And I agree with that completely. No, if a woman's mistreating you, you can cut her off. Be like, all right, well, I'm done. That's
a leader. That's a leader.
Exactly. So and you should put your foot down. You shouldn't stand for that. You shouldn't have to. You should never be with someone who wants to give you that all the time. So I can't disagree with that at all. He functions on this. I guess he just stated sort of like his premise, how he functions. He says, it sounds like the point of everything he says, that the man is the leader, and if the woman leads, I'm saying this is what it sounds like he was saying. If the woman leads, that's going to be the end of the relationship because he doesn't want to be in a relationship with someone who's not a leader.
No. What he's saying, I think. Let me make this make.
Okay, all right.
This might be a little bit more controversial. Where he says when women lead, it's usually to the failure of a relationship. So if a woman is the leader,
okay,
more than likely the relationship will fail.
Okay.
So it's more natural for a man to be the leader if you want a successful relationship. That's what I mean. Maybe he didn't make it clear to you, right? That's what he
No,
means.
that's interesting. So he's saying that just because a woman is not good at leading, if she leads, she's going to ruin the relationship.
He said women usually lead towards the failure of the relationship. So if a woman, but it's more like you gotta think. If the woman is because leader, maybe it's sexist, but a leader is probably the masculine role. You know, you're just the masculine energy. Pretty much, you're leading somebody. You're directing them and all that stuff. So it's the masculine energy. So if a woman has the masculine energy in the relationship, well, to counter that, I mean, two masculine energy don't necessarily mix. So in essence, it's really the woman with the masculine energy, the man with a kind of a feminine, blue pill, very simpy energy. Well, usually women will dominate those men, and it don't usually end out well. Okay, so that's the premise and idea, because women don't function well as leaders.
Okay. So. Well, no, I mean, I didn't really see anything wrong with. I would never hit a woman. I mean,
I wanted to ask you that, but I kind of knew your answer. But
yeah, I wouldn't hit a woman. Or at least I do everything I can not hit a woman, because there's only a certain amount of left and right.
I don't know, man. I don't know about you. I've seen women really could fuck up a man.
Yeah.
So
me too.
I don't know. I wouldn't hit a woman that pushes me. But if a woman just I've seen a woman literally can knock out a guy. Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I'm happy I've never tested that theory, right? What would I do? Yeah. But if I see a woman actually fists up, about to punch me in the face, I don't think I'm gonna stand there and just take it. So I mean, yeah, I'll probably walk away. But there's situations where women will chase after you and try to punch you. So I mean, I'm glad I've never, been in that situation. But yeah, if a woman pushed me or tried to slap my body or whatever, slapping my face, I still wouldn't. That still wouldn't be a good thing. Like, so whatever. But hitting my face I think that's the point where I will either have to retaliate, even if it's a woman, right? If a woman starts hitting your face, because then you could get knocked out. And what do I want better, right? Me to be knocked out by a woman, or me just protecting myself? I mean, I'd rather just protect myself and be laughed at, or people chastise me for hitting a woman than being knocked out by a woman.
I'm gonna do, and I don't think you would get chastised. I would do everything in my power to defend myself. I'd have to exhaust every possible option before I would ever resort to.
No, I would walk away. I would,
But he said, you hit the wrong guy, they might hit you back.
Sure. I mean, that's the thing where I think, I don't know about you, right? On social media, you see it more and more every year. More and more men are just, I mean, again, this is not unprovoked, right? It's provoked, where women are hitting men and men are just not holding back.
Which doesn't make it okay, but
no,
by the time they swing, the damage is done. You know what I mean? Like, it's like.
But I'm just saying, like, I think it's a big, like, I think that's part of the thing where chivalry has died, or it's pretty much dead, because women are killing it. Women have killed it. So, those are examples of it.
Next clip I want to do. You were actually the first time you were on my show. Yeah. I had some ladies on the show. Yeah. And we had a whole conversation about being vulnerable in front of your woman. Remember this clip? Yes. And you're like, fuck that. No. Yeah. You cry in front of a woman, here's what happens. So let's play that clip. We'll have that discussion on the other side. Now, you got this?
The woman is some of the worst advice that modern day women give to men, because if I sit there and I cry to you, oh my God, my life is hard, blah, 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 blah. You might sit there and console me for a bit, but deep down, you're going to go out and find someone.
So not true. I know. No,
vulnerability shows
vulnerability is so powerful.
Again, this is a common example of women saying one thing, but doing another. They're saying this right now, but deep down, if your man came to you and was crying on your shoulder saying, I don't know what's going on,
I would be there for him.
Can I finish?
Her vagina's gonna dry up. She ain't gonna want to fuck with him anymore. She's gonna look for a stronger, more capable man because women are designed to look for security.
Just because they cry once, bro?
Hey man, I can't tell you how many times we brought girls on the show with their own. They tell us on air. One time my boyfriend cried in front of me, and I never looked at him the same. Being vulnerable.
Okay. So even my question on the show is like, so what is acceptable as a man? What do you think? You know, because you even said earlier, we all have emotions, but we're not emotional. You know, I'm a big advocate and believer in stoicism. Yeah. That's something that I've had to learn before I came to Valuetainment. Pat gave me a book, PBD, shout out to him. It's called Meditations, Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
And stoicism essentially is like whether great things happen to you or shitty things happen to you, you just kind of got to be the rock and deal with it, be a stoist. How do you grapple with this? Like you, sometimes you might get triggered. Like, okay, so a man, emotions, dealing with their women, life's not easy. We all know life's tough. Yeah. How do you guys handle this?
Well, let me ask the girls. How many of you want a vulnerable man? Raise your hands. 3. Okay, no, that's cool. And then on the couch, how many of you want a vulnerable man?
Shout on the couch. Vulnerable man.
1. Okay. Anybody else want a vulnerable man?
No, absolutely not. But here we do.
It's stupid to say to a certain extent. Is it considered stupid?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Like, maybe not like, oh, like my life is terrible. I hate this. I hate that. But more in the sense like if I do something for him and he shows a little bit of.
Well, the thing is with vulnerability is that you're in a position where it could be, you know, like KO. It's essentially critical because that's what makes it vulnerable in the first place. There's a difference between like showing some emotion versus being vulnerable. So you said you want a guy to be vulnerable. Why?
Because I like a man that can show up their feelings. So it's beautiful when you can connect with your man with their feelings.
Okay,
so
what feelings do you want to see?
The men's are more stronger than the women's. But you can show me, if you are my partner, I'd like you show me your feelings. And that's for me is a vulnerability.
This is a problem.
Okay, what about you?
No.
What?
I think showing vulnerability with someone is very, very special, and I think it takes a lot of bravery to do so. So if someone can show vulnerability to me, I feel special, and I also look up to them a lot because they can do it. They can admit fault, they can feel upset about things, like they can feel love, they can feel the connection.
But I feel like when he
Give me an argument. If you can do all the insults, but it's not gonna prove me wrong at all.
I feel like when he means vulnerable, it doesn't mean like out of emotion.
It doesn't mean that you're like
just means
schizophrenic and depressed and it's just like going to the mental health.
Vulnerable, like everything affects him is emotionally stable, that they can control their emotions. It's different. Vulnerable, it means like everything affects him. I don't want a person like that.
You can't just cry in front of someone once.
All right, so who else wants a vulnerable man? 1, 2. Who else raise their hand?
It's
okay. Why?
Because I think that being in touch with your emotions and be a leader, as you say, but be able to balance that and show your emotions and how you feel truly and not have put a face on all the time is something that's attractive to me.
But would it be fair to say that as a leader, you need to be able to lead regardless of how you feel?
Correct. Yeah, so you can still lead, but that doesn't mean you can't
share
in private. You can share in private with your woman how you truly feel and ask for her support. That's why she's there too, no?
It doesn't work. A guy cried in front of me, and I never was attracted to him again.
I'll take a Henny and Coke. Thanks.
All right, on the couch. On the couch.
They're making me very vulnerable right now. I just ordered a cocktail.
Yeah. On the couch, someone said they want a vulnerable guy. Why do you want a vulnerable guy? On the couch.
Oh, I don't want to
raise their hand.
It was a girl with the white top.
Yeah, give her a mic.
Alicia Keys over there. What you got?
Yeah. Why do you want a vulnerable man?
Can we keep a mic over there, guys, and just like ready to rock?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think a man should be vulnerable to an extent. There was a guy that I was talking to. He did cry when he couldn't deal with a certain situation, and I don't like. I didn't.
Where's
really,
that guy now?
Yeah. Where's he now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, at the time I was like kind of turned off, but
she literally counter herself.
And I love when women say, because here's the thing, that was a trick question, ladies. I love how women say, I want it to be vulnerable to an extent, but the whole root word of vulnerability is that there is no extent. You don't know where it's gonna go.
You don't even want to have a woman that's a mess. But
What?
you don't want to have a woman that's just an absolute mess.
Like you don't want them to cry all the time. But when you're describing emotional men, you're describing them as like you're crying all the time.
But that assumes that men and women are the same. If a woman is vulnerable, it doesn't have the same negative stigma. It doesn't turn us off to the same extent as when a man's vulnerable, because men don't date girls for security. Women date men for security. If I'm supposed to be your bodyguard and protect you, and I'm constantly crying and I don't know what the fuck is going on, you're not gonna feel safe around me. That's just how it is.
Can we even like, let's say you're like married to someone and his mom dies. Like if he's like a little bit sad and you be there for him, like you're not talking about that, right? You're talking about like day-to-day kind of stuff.
Like a mess.
But okay, so let me frame the question this way, because here I am. I've cried twice in the last 10 years. Once when my dad died.
Okay.
Okay, cried.
Right.
And I didn't even like my dad. We had a contentious relationship, but my dad died.
Right.
Second was when a long-term girlfriend of mine got cancer. It was 24, gorgeous, cancer, disastrous. So that was really freaking tough. I cried. Okay, so, but I've done business deals that have gone like awry, not crying. Right. I've lost employees. I've had major issues. I'm not crying.
Right.
So I think there's time and place for it. So I think what she's asking you is, like, when's the last time you cried? Like, if God forbid something happened to one of your parents, you would cry.
Yeah, no, I mean, my grandma passed away a few months ago. I haven't actually shared this, and yeah, I went on. There was a girl over. I went over and I went over on the balcony and I cried by myself, and like I saw her coming. I was like, fucking immediately, and I told her, I told her to leave me alone. And the reason why is because even though it sounds so great to be able to open up in front of your girl, I understand that the female hard wiring is literally designed to look for security and be repulsed by inadequacy. So by you crying, you don't know how your girl's going to react to it. For example, here's an example right now. When we asked her the question, she raised her hand, I want a vulnerable man, right? So, but when we asked her, what ended up happening, he cried and it turned her off. You don't know how a woman's going to respond until it actually happens in front of her. Yeah. Every girl is different and how they respond to that, you opening up your emotions. So what I tell guys instead is, go ahead and be vulnerable with a man, no homo. And the reason why is because guys that you trust, because men understand the masculine experience. Women don't. Women really don't know what it's like to be a man. Hell, most girls don't even know what men want, let alone understand the masculine burner performance and masculine experience. So if you're able to open up with your guy friends, yeah, they'll make fun of you about it. You guys maybe go get a beer after, whatever it is. But you're better doing that because there's not going to be the same negative ramifications to your relationship as a woman. Are there women out there that you could cry in front of and nothing will change? Absolutely. But are you willing to take that risk?
Okay.
I think the issue is too as well that like both parties, we don't know the extent to it. So for example, let's say I cried to Melina. She might be like, you know what? I like this. This is great. But to lady over here, I cried to her. Oh, you know what? That's a turnoff. So as a man, why risk it at all? What's the point?
Yeah.
Another thing too.
Because you in that case, you know who is the good one, right? If you try it sometime, if you know that your girl would leave you right away, she's probably not like the best person to date in that case, right?
But once again, though, it's to make things work, right? And ultimately, why even risk it in the first place?
Yeah, but in that case, you're never really gonna know if she actually cares about you.
Yeah, you can.
It depends. Of course not, because if she would leave, if you show a little bit of emotions, she clearly doesn't care about you. She only cares about herself.
Most women don't want to be cried to.
No, that's not true. I think you feel really special.
Here's the thing. It's very easy to speak in 2020 hindsight on a podcast with hundreds of people, not actually thousands of people watching and say, I wouldn't change. But it's much different when you're dependent on that man for your livelihood, for your home, for your income, for your food, for your children. You're going to have way different priorities when you see that man cry in front of you and you understand that guy controls your future and he isn't like stable himself. You're going to think twice. It's always, women typically always talk in ideals versus the real. The real is when this guy's supposed to be your leader. He's supposed to be leading you through life, which life is really tough, and he can't even handle it. You're gonna look otherwise.
Do you think that they're
it's going on for long. I want us to pretty much end on this note because I know you gotta go soon, So this, I think, will really let's digest this and really like flush it out. What's your thoughts on this?
Yo, if he's right, that is so depressing.
You don't think that? You don't think he's right?
All right, so man, God dang, man.
That's why I think, because then I think this we could flesh it out for 30 minutes or so. That's why,
it might be something we have to talk longer about.
We could probably talk long about it.
But I mean, we can just. I'm not a crier. I'm not like crying all the time. But I also think it's important to be able to show your emotions. And
but what I also want to say might be we gotta understand there's degrees to it. Vulnerability.
Well, it doesn't sound like he's saying there's degrees to it though. That's what I'm saying. Like,
but I mean, like, okay, when a man cries, that is a vulnerability, right? And that's a heavy vulnerability. Not just say, "Oh, I love you, babe," or "Oh my God, I'm sad," or saying you're sad and then just bawling are two different things. So that's another level of high vulnerability.
Died and he cried, and when his girl came,
and that's a vulnerable state. And you're in a vulnerable state where it's not necessarily you want to show that, right? And I don't know, when you're looking about leadership, if he came to his girl and said that my grandfather died, I'm just sad. Okay, that's different. Then my grandma died, tears, snot, and all that stuff is like, those are really different things. And it's an image, right? I think what he's really trying to get at is like the image you want to portray. It's not saying that you're stone cold, you're emotionless. No, but it's like an image where you're sad, but you're not broken. You're not broken down. You still show that, there's still strength in it. So that's why I'm thinking about, like, usually and you know what? I've been in there where I hate women crying. I really hate women crying. It's so, because it's just like the vulnerability. I mean, like, I've been there for women that cry, but it's like hearing a woman cry is like really, it's like, I'm not saying it's a turn off, but it
hurt.
It's just because it's so much drama, so much emotion. So on the flip side, I imagine like if a man is doing it, it's like, wow, I can see our women naturally don't see that as attractive because it's very feminine, right? It's because you're so much emotion, such a high level of emotion. I can see that they're not, I don't know, really seeing you on a great light, a leader, masculine light. And you know what? I've been there where I do open up, and I've said, really tearful things to women, and I've been there where they just kind of like just brush it aside, or not really all that caring, or nothing special to them, and that's hurt too, right? Where you show the vulnerability, right? Where you show your deepest thoughts and all that stuff. I get that and it didn't mean that she didn't love me, but it's just that, why, some women, I get that where, why would you risk that thing where you don't know? It doesn't necessarily mean that they don't love you, but it's like women can get turned off by, like you could say, I think women are naturally turned off by feminine men. So you show some kind of femininity in you, I think that's a turnoff for a lot of women. So, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't love you. It's just that people get turned off. So, what do you? I don't know. What's your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm shaking right now. Like, all right, so, well, all right. I'll talk about what I agree with first. First, yeah, if you have male friends,
wait, I gotta do a break, but you could talk, okay? Talk.
Okay. Hey guys, it's just us. I think if you have male friends, it's completely okay for you to be vulnerable in front of them. You should have guy friends who are supportive of you. That's healthy, and it's often a better environment. But if you're with somebody long term, and you can't ever be emotional in front of them, I feel like they're not a good friend. And I just imagine you would want to be in a relationship with a friend. Now I'm not talking about crying all the time or breaking down every time something bad happens. That's weak. But in extreme situations and you need a shoulder, I imagine that a woman who's your partner should be willing to be that shoulder. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of what I would want. And it's upsetting if that can't happen because she won't want you anymore. That's rough. I don't know what to say. That's a rough thing to hear. And he stands by it. He didn't say, hey, you can be emotional to a degree. He said, don't cry in front of her, not once. That's hard, man. I mean, I'm not somebody who cries. I rarely cry, but if I'm with somebody and I'm that emotional and they don't want to support me because it's a turn off, that person, I think a person like that sucks. I mean, even if, and I feel you, it's true. Like I don't think that I'm gonna attract a woman by crying all the time. Like that's ridiculous. But like, if you can't show any type of vulnerability in front.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm saying I think there's level, right? If you said to her like,
but that's not what Myron said. Is what I'm saying.
But I think he's showing that where crying is a high level of vulnerability. I mean, it is because it's just I always think I've seen it. Crying is to something that's so emotional to make your body react. It is a high level of vulnerability. The difference is you going to your girlfriend and saying that you're depressed, right? That your parent died. Okay, but then you're going to your girlfriend all up on her, like just snot and tears coming out of your eye, and just like you're barely able to, words are barely coming out of your mouth, saying that your parents died. But I'm not saying that it's a great thing that she wouldn't support you, but I do see that. I do see that why. I could see that women would be turned off by it. So I think that he makes the suggestion like, why even risk it? Just go to men, and if tears are going to be involved, go to men. I think that's his thing. That's and they spout that a lot, and I think red pill men do that a lot. They say that a lot. It is better if you're going to cry to your men. It's fine for you to say you're pressed and sad to your woman and stuff, but I mean, do you not see like leadership is kind of an image, right? You want to portray a certain image of masculinity, of power, of leadership. So that's what they're thinking, and I think that's where their view comes from, where they have a view of leadership. So you don't want to kind of break that image that you're such a strong leader by showing such a high level of weakness. Because when you're vulnerable, you're weak. That's kind of the essence of being vulnerable. It's weakness. So they don't want men to necessarily portray that level of weakness when they believe that you should be the leader of the relationship. And, so
and I mean, when I think about it, in the rare instances where I've needed that kind of support, it's come from like guy friends, my dad, my brothers. I hear you on that. But all right, let me ask you, is there a difference between that kind of situation with a girlfriend and that kind of situation with a wife?
I think there's no difference. If you see a partner as long-term commitment, that's the thing. So let's say even a girlfriend where you see that you could eventually marry this person, that's no difference than being a wife. Because if you see yourself eventually marrying her, well, then you should portray a certain kind of image.
Yeah, but all right. So, but from the guy's point of view is what I mean. So like, all right, you're with a girl, you're not married to her.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the eventual goal. You want to keep up your leadership image. Okay. You're married to a woman 5 years, 10 years. It's the two of you, right? You're not around other people more than you're around each other.
Yeah.
Not once, bro.
Now
it's gonna have that bad of an effect. Like she's gonna.
I mean, like let's say this, right? I think that's the point where. Let's say this. The risk is less. Let's say that. but there could always still be risk. Because trust me, I've heard stories of it. All right, don't think that that's the problem. Where
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't think that there's not. I haven't heard stories of men so stoic, right? They've been stoic all their relationship life, right? And then they showed an ounce of weakness in any kind of way, right? I'm not just saying he's crying, but any kind. Let's say an ounce of weakness where, let's say he's not. He got. I recently heard a story. He got an injury where now he can't even work anymore. He can't provide and protect. Oh, a sign of weakness. And now the woman has to be now the provider. Well, she cheated on him. And this is years of marriage with children and stuff like that. So I would say this, men should always learn to mitigate risk. It's that simple. You mitigate the risk. Now, you got to understand there's a risk. So you can cry to your woman, but you should know there's a risk to it. So if you, even like I said, even if like you've been with this woman for, I don't know, 20, 30 years, you've never cried to her. And you think she's an amazing woman. She's all this stuff. You know, she would be there for you if you broke down or stuff. She probably says it. But at the end of the day, you still have to mitigate the risk. And it didn't show that she didn't love him, but again, image is very important. So if you change the image that you portray for a woman in her mind, then that will probably affect how she acts around you. And that's what we don't understand, that it's all about, you know what, is it worth the risk? That's the thing. You know, I'm not saying that you don't, you be emotionless around your, partner, but at the end of the day, is losing her worth the risk? Well, for men, it's different. For men, that's the thing, right? For men and women, it's really different. Women, well, especially in their, prime years, if they lose a man, there's always another man in the corner, right? Or waiting around the corner. For men, I've been there. I've done that, where I don't want to, even though I'm in this bad relationship, I don't want to lose it because I'm scared that, will I get another relationship? How hard is it going to the dating market? Is shitty. It's hard as shit. So do I really want to go back in the dating market? Men just, that's the thing where you got to talk to men, that men kind of live with the scarcity mindset, where they're scared of, not having another relationship, or it's getting hard to get another relationship. So it's all about risk tolerance, risk management. You know what? Do you want to risk it? If you think she is, you want to cry to her, fine. But, well, if she, breaks up with you or looks at you differently, well, you took that risk. So, but an advice to counteract it is that, you know what if you don't take that risk, right? Because if this is the woman you want to be with, right? If this is the woman that you love and you want to be with the rest of your life, and you don't want to take that risk, well, then cry to men that knows how that feels, men that knows that there's no one there for you but other men. So men knows that feeling. So that, and men don't care. Let's say even you cry to your male best friend. Well, if he turned off, well, who gives a shit? Why would you care if a man turns off for that? Right? So that's why it doesn't affect you like that. But a woman, well, you want to spend the rest of your life with this woman, so it affects more. It's just risk management. What's worth the risk? And for men, usually losing, a partner is not always worth the risk. So I don't know. But I do agree that it's not great that you can't, share emotions with your partner. But I do see that sharing such a high level of vulnerability can backfire. And I've seen it where women actually bring it back up too. Talk about your low points. So I don't know. I mean, people are people. So
I guess so.
they could be cruel. So I don't know.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me. We gotta talk about that more later.
Wait, let's finish this. We'll finish this little section part and see if he says anything else. If he doesn't, then we're done.
Okay.
Would have left you if she saw you cry on the balcony over your grandma?
I'm sorry?
Do you think that girl would have left you if she saw you cry over your grandma?
No, she wouldn't have, because I had built up a certain resume with that girl.
But you think it would have lowered, it would have higher her risk to leave?
I'm not going to risk it.
Okay, but you think there could be a risk in that case?
There's a risk that isn't worth it, because I understand that the cornerstone of female admiration is respect, and I'm not willing to risk that to open up to her, because I don't know what happens when you open up Pandora's box. We know women are emotional. We know women are erratic, and women are controlled by their emotions. If she gets the feeling, right, which could be fleeting or not, that I'm not an adequate partner and me crying this temporary thing of weakness, that could fuck up the relationship long term. I can't tell you how many girls have come on the show. I love my guy, blah, blah, blah. I saw him cry for me. I don't know what happened. I just couldn't. I could never look at him the same.
Do you think
We had a
girl.
Hold on, Fresh. I feel like you want to answer this question as well. Yeah. Myron, I appreciate you. You just got vulnerable here
That's
with
what
me.
I was gonna say.
Look at all you got. I mean, your grandma died, bro. I think that's hello. When's the last time you had to cry?
I don't.
Period.
But okay, so I get the comment, right? I'm heartless.
Yeah.
But I have emotions, but like I just do it differently. I'll go for a walk with my dog to the dog park. I'll like drive my car. That's why I kind of let loose my emotions. So, for example, if my girl says to me, "Hey, how are you feeling today?" I feel great. Always great, because once again, I'm the raw. So why even put that in the atmosphere where I'm like, "Oh, I'm sad today."
Gotcha. So how you feeling right now?
I feel great. It's funny because like the whole point of this is to make things last with your partner, right? So I want to minimize all the things that can go wrong in this relationship. So ultimately, some girls answer, for example, I want a vulnerable man to extend. We don't know the extent, so why even go down that road? It makes no sense.
A big part of like another thing too, also, and it's gonna sound fucked up or whatever, but as a man in a relationship with a chick, your job is to mitigate risk.
Yep.
And that's why it's like, why do you guys think I tell you all the time, plan the date, have everything mapped out, you control everything, because when you leave it up to a girl, if the date sucks, she ain't gonna take accountability and be like, wow, I was really boring on the date. Fault. It's your fucking fault. So you might as well go ahead and control all the variables anyway and mitigate risk and not leave anything really open up to interpretation. That's what women want. Every girl here on this panel, they may admit it or not, is they just want to be pretty and fucking show up. That's it. They don't want to have to plan or do anything. They just want to be there and exist and have the guy be in the driver's seat at all times. That's what women really want and desire. That's why so many girls get mad. Plan a date. Guys don't plan nothing. I don't want to go to your house Netflix. That comes from their rooted mindset of they want a guy who's assertive, dominant, and a leader and has his shit together. That's what they want.
And you know what's funny? I guarantee you, if your dad, who's your rock, cried in front of you, you'd be like, "This is my hero. Why is he crying?" Same thing with your man. Why do you want your man to
I
cry?
mean, if I saw my dad cry, I mean, when his mom died, he cried.
That's your father, though.
And I didn't like disrespect him for that. Clearly, I was like, damn, I've never seen him cry before, and it feels insane. Like
that's reasonable,
I got to
though.
see him.
That's your father. That's reasonable.
Yeah, that was really was a wonderful thing because he's because he
All right, well,
let's But wait, can I ask you something? I'm really curious. How many women do you think are out there? Do you think there are women out there that would be okay with their man being emotional from time
I
to
said
time?
that earlier. There are some, but it's not worth the risk.
It's not worth the risk.
It's a minority. So again, I always give guys advice from a practical standpoint based on probabilities, not possibilities. The probability that she will lose respect for you is extremely high. So why risk it?
Last point right here, then we got to get some super chats.
All right. Any last thoughts?
No, not really. I'll tell you what my thoughts are on like the whole video as a whole since we've come this far. I hadn't spent much time watching Fresh and Fit.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because we still have a lot more to go.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll also talk about more about this probably at the very end when we wrap this up. But I do want to know, has your view, if your views on Fresh and Fit has changed, right? That is important because a lot of people, right, who watch Kevin Samuels, watch Fresh and Fit, watch all these other men-related podcasts, right? They see clips or they hear people talk about it. So they don't really see necessarily the whole thing, or they don't see a whole clip, or they don't really watch it. They don't really watch them or really analyze them, right? Take the time to listen and analyze, which we're doing right now. So that means they get a very skewed view or a very like quick, different kind of view that I don't think it's fair to large formats, right? With large form content where it's an hour, 2 hours long, and people have larger conversations, right? There's context to everything, so you don't get the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that, and so far, like, I don't think those guys are total a-holes. I'm surprised that there is a lot I can see eye to eye with them on. There's still a lot I don't agree with, or maybe don't like how it's stated, but I don't think they're like these completely unreasonable nutbags. Now let's see what the last half hour of the show has to bring. But so far, this is interesting. It's interesting points of views they're expressing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and again, I can tell you this, right? I really do like Fresh and Fit. I don't watch them religiously. I do watch them, but I don't watch them religiously because, again, I mean, when you absorb so much content of somebody, I mean, then you're idolizing them. It's just too much, and you don't need to. I rather get a whole lot of different people's point of views. I think that's better instead of just one absorb so much of one person or one content. It's gonna limit your knowledge, limit your viewpoints. So yeah, I like to take everything into perspective. So, but again, I do like Fresh and Fit a lot. So I agree with them practically on most things they've said about. It's not there's a few things I'm not really like, I don't agree with them on, but I also say that it's because, and maybe this is maybe the thing that you should maybe you see later on too. I always said we as normal people, these people who are watching these, we don't see the nuances where there's context. They usually talk about, let's say, thing where dating multiple women. Well, usually those are certain type of men that either very charming, very good looking, makes a lot of money. Well, that doesn't sound like an average man to me, right? So when you have an average man viewpoint or average man lifestyle, of course, so you wouldn't necessarily agree with that or see it that way. But again, I see things for the context that it is. So I don't necessarily, I don't hate those things because it's against because I've said it in, I think we said it in our last podcast where we're monogamous men, right? I'd rather just be with one woman. I just rather love a woman. I'm not really into one-night stands and all that stuff, but I'm just not that type of person, nor do I even live that kind of lifestyle. Who knows, right? If both of us become millionaires tomorrow, like crazy millionaires,
yeah,
who knows what type of men we will be? Because money can change people, and money has changed people. I mean, and most times money just reflect your already personality, but again, money has changed people. So who knows, right? Who knows how we'll be if like every day there's a new woman trying to get with us. Who knows? But again, it's a different type of men, different type of tax bracket. So that's the context I always at least listen to when I listen to certain things where he talks about a man should have, a body count of 50. Well, if you're a six-figure man, $1 million man, okay, that's not crazy because a lot of women want you, and you deal with a lot of women. Plus, if you're charming, you're charming, you are kind of a player, you're kind of funny, you're kind of very socially, acute. Well, those type of men deal with a lot of women. So, you deal with 100 women. Well, maybe half of those women you've had sex with. So I could see those points because of the context I'm actually viewing it in. But, a lot of average men or even average women just hear what he says and not necessarily put things into what kind of context is it. So, that's why I think it's people throw around high value man and all that stuff stupid because it does not apply to average people in no way whatsoever. So no such thing as high value man should ever come out of an average man or average woman's mouth. It shouldn't because we don't deal with those type of men or we don't deal with those type of people.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But let's get your any last thoughts. I mean, so far,
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, they have some interesting points of view, some stuff worth talking about. I feel like I understand the podcast and the guys more, and while I don't completely agree with everything they're saying, I don't think they're like total, idiots. When we're done, though, I think I would like to talk about how some of their clips influence people who only watch the clips. But yeah, I mean, so far this is interesting. I can't wait for the rest of it.
Yeah. So fun conversation. I think we'll try to wrap it up. Again, thank you for. I mean, if you're watching this now, we have already passed 200 subscribers. I'm so happy because, again, I'm a nobody. I'm nothing special, right? He's an average Joe.
Regular guy.
Yeah, we're so regular, it's insane. So to think that there's any people that even care to listen, and if you're listening up to this point, that's insane. That's insane that you are still listening because I know people really would not listen to this 2 hours. We're 2 hours and almost 30 minutes. So if you're listening to right now, you are probably my biggest fan, and I have to say thank you so much. That you are the type of person why I do this for, because it's just doing these videos, my other videos, has been such helpful to my sanity, and it's given another layer of purpose in my life. So I just really want to thank you, anyone who's listening at this point. So just thank you for listening, and thank you for even caring to listen. But yeah, we'll probably continue in this, maybe one more episode, maybe two, who knows. But definitely this is the second part to it. Please check out the first part. And thank you. That's all. That's the most I could say. Just thank you.
Thank you so much.
But hope you guys check out the other guns. Hope you guys comment if you guys want. But just thank you. Later, guys.
Take care.